The Coronas came the long way to Australia. Lead singer Danny O'Reilly and guitarist Dave McPhillips talked about life on the road and Danny's famously musical family and his time playing football with Dublin. Hey, we're here in Brisbane today to have a little chat with Danny and Dave from the Coronas, who have just started their tour and they're on their second night in Brisbane, isn't that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Fantastic. So, welcome to Australia. How's the jet lag?
Yeah, it's okay. We're a little bit tired today. We had our first gig last night, as you say, in Sydney. But we had a couple of days in Sydney when we arrived to sort of acclimatise, and we got to go to the beach and have a bit of crack. And so it's nice to have a few days off as well. But looking forward to the gig tonight and the rest of the tour. Yes, we're going to be on the road now right up until Christmas. So it's cool. It's great to be over here in the sun. Like when we left Dublin on Monday, it was literally like 1 degree Celsius, freezing. So to come over here and have this is just really cool. Like.
And how was last night in Sydney then?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was one of our more memorable gigs of the last couple of years. There's obviously a good few Irish people, but they brought all their Australian mates as well. So I'd say we had about 1,000 people in the room, and it's amazing to travel the whole way across the world and have that. So yeah, it was brilliant. Really great time.
And have you noticed your crowds getting bigger at all, or?
Yeah,
as the time's gone on.
Yeah, thankfully for us, it's always been like a slow, gradual increase, even everywhere. Even back at home in Ireland, when we started out, we playing small venues and we built our way up through the venues in Ireland. There was never a big break that all of a sudden we got, playing in bigger venues. So it's the same here. It's the same in the UK. We just finished the UK tour and we're building up through the venues there. So as I say, thankfully it's still going the right direction.
Yeah, and you're already big in Ireland, so is that your mission the whole world over, world domination?
Yeah, that would be nice. But so we've been travelling around England a lot and hopefully get to Europe next year and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know, bit by bit, as long as we're still enjoying it, we'll keep going.
Well, most of us Irish people have friends in Australia because we're everywhere. Do you guys have any contacts and friends over here? Is it a chance to catch up? Or?
Yeah, I mean, in Sydney especially, we had a good few friends of ours who came down to the show, and we went out with them the night before, went down to Sydney Harbour and had a bit of crack with them. And as you say, it's great to there's always a few Irish around, and we're the same. As I say, we have friends from school and stuff here, so it was great to catch up with them. Yeah.
It can be kind of annoying sometimes because we're only like a day in each place, and you see your friend, you haven't seen them in about 2 years or something, and so come on out, and you're pretty tired, but you kind of keep going anyway, and then the next day it just keeps building. But it's great.
Awesome. So does it feel good to kind of be, because the Irish are everywhere, to bring a little bit of home to those people who are out here? Do you feel you have a connection with the Irish audiences abroad?
Of course, yeah. It always means more to them. As soon as we leave Ireland, more people will be asking us to do Here's Our Ghost Oscuelga, and our Irish song, and they'd be really sort of passionate, and you see more Irish flags out in the crowd, and they're just giving it more because they're, as you say, they're away from home. It's that little piece of home, and maybe we might remind them of home as well. But luckily this time, there's a lot more Aussies coming to the show as well. We've done a lot of radio and TV stuff, local things over here, and we have a label now and the album's out, so it's sort of it's nice. Of course, we love having all the Irish there as well, but it's nice to see some Aussies coming down and that sort of building up as well.
Yeah. So with your label and everything here, and you're getting a lot bigger now, do you think that you'll be spending a lot more time down under, or will we be seeing more of you here?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, this particular tour has gone really, really well, and we can notice an increase since the last time we were here about 1.5 years ago. So, yeah, if the timing suits and that's where we're going, we'll do it. Yeah, definitely.
I'd say for as long as we can, we'd like to come here at least once a year anyway. At some stage and keep building on it, as you say, and hopefully we can plan it every time that it's winter back home and summer here, so we get a bit of sun. So we'll try and make sure maybe every December we might come back. So as I say, at least once a year we'd love to come back. It's a great country, and they know their music, and as I say, we've been lucky enough to get a good bit of support on local radio and stuff like that as well. So yeah, we'll try and keep building on it.
Cool. So obviously you're well versed in interviews.
You too.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Thanks. What questions do you wish that you could be asked more? Are there any kind of neglected areas? No.
I don't know. I was trying to think of something. I don't know.
Dave loves when you ask him about his personal life. He really likes that. Yeah, just about what's going on.
Girlfriends?
Yeah, just more and more of that would be great. Yeah.
No probs. I'm on it.
I find I always get maybe it's just like the lead singer ego or whatever. But when someone interviews you and asks you about a particular song that they really like, or a lyric or something specific, like, you know, as opposed to just a general, how are you getting on, are you happy to be here, blah 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 blah. But that's all cool as well, but when someone actually is into it and knows, like, what about that song, what did you do there, even though the viewers might not mean as much to them, it's always nice to get asked stuff like that about it, like, as I say, individual songs or albums or something like that, you know.
Big pressure on the next question now.
Yeah.
What questions don't you like being asked?
Yeah, personal life questions, of course, is always the one. That's why I said it today. But and then, like, I suppose sometimes when people ask you questions that, like, I suppose are explained in the first line of our Wikipedia, like, you know, so everyone can know, like, or that we've just answered millions of times, like, you know. So, but no, it's fine. I mean, as you say, we're used to it now. We've been around long enough to know that, you know, that these things are what people want to know. So it's fine, like, you know, so we don't really mind.
Danny has also known GAA Glory as part of the Dublin minor panel that made the All-Ireland final in 2003. He continues to play when band commitments don't preclude it. Who plays Gaelic?
That's me, yeah.
Do you still play at all, or do you miss it? Or?
I haven't had a chance really to play as much this year, but last year when we were recording the album in London, I joined a team over there called the North London Shamrocks, who we have to give a big shout out to, of course. But yeah, I played in Dublin all my life with a club called Temple Oaks Inc Street, and played minor for Dublin in 2003, which I like to drop in there. Very, very proud achievement of mine. But yeah, so I love the football. Do you play?
I do not, no. I've never been near a pitch in my life. So this is your first time playing this album in Australia, is that correct?
Right, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're really happy that we finished it. When was it released? Was it like about 6 months ago?
Yeah, probably the start of this year, yeah.
And so, yeah, no, so delighted to play it, and everyone seems to know the songs and stuff as well, which is great. So you can kind of hear people singing back the songs that we've kind of worked hard on and we're really proud of, so it's really cool. Loving it.
Speaking of songwriting, who actually lays down the foundations of the songs, or is it a collaboration in that respect, or how do you go about
No,
it?
it's definitely a collaboration. I mean, when we started off, the first album would have been more so where I would come with a song almost finished and bring to the boys, for the most part anyway, and we would all work on our parts together. But these days it's much more collaborative, and myself and Dave would do the lyrics together and we'd work on the music, all four of us. And for this album as well is the first time we've actually started writing with a couple of different people as well, friends of ours, and trying that out, and we enjoyed that as well. So yeah, it's definitely a collaborative team effort, you know. It works for us, I think.
Cool. With respect to the content of the songs, getting a little bit personal, now that's your favourite. Do you find it kind of like a form of therapy, writing songs? That, like, do you write about personal stuff and transfer it?
Yeah, even when we started out, you know, I mean, our first single was about drinking all day and sleeping all night, or whatever it is, or the other way around. And so yeah, we've always been very honest lyricists, and you know, we just write about what we can sort of offer some sort of insight into, I suppose, and that's still the same. And with the new album as well, there's songs about love, there's songs about the band, there's songs about different things, but it's always honest, no matter what the topic is. It's always, you know, it comes from an honest place, like, yeah.
I'm sure the fans appreciate that as well. So Mick McHugh is joining you on this tour. Tell us a bit about him. What's he like?
Mick's great. He's the loveliest man in Australia. We decided today. He's a singer, songwriter, and he was actually with us on the last tour. And but now he's like opening up the show for us, which is great. And he's a good friend of ours, and his songs are great. So definitely, if you're going to any of the shows, just check him out.
Cool. Makes for a good dynamic as well if you get on.
Coming as well. He's about to go in and start recording it and stuff. So yeah, so absolutely delighted to have him.
It was a huge honour for the band to get to perform for American President Barack Obama during his 2011 visit to Ireland. Playing for Obama.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. He came to Dublin. There was a big celebration a good few years ago now, probably 3 or 4 years ago at least, I'd say. And so obviously, you know, thousands of people came out to see him in College Green, and they asked us to play with a couple other bands before and do a couple of songs, and it was amazing. And we, as I say, there was a big crowd there, and then of course we got to meet him after, which was pretty impressive, to shake Obama's hand and Michelle, his wife, as well, of course. So it was really, really one of those surreal moments that you know, something you can tell the grandkids, I suppose. Yeah.
So you all moved to London. Do you think that has played a part in kind of upping your careers a level?
Yeah, definitely, because London would be a much more competitive environment than Ireland would be. So you kind of you're joining the bottom of a much larger ladder, or whatever it is. So yeah, it's kind of increased our ambition, I suppose, or with the type of songs we want to write, or the type of things we want to do. you can, you can kind of just sort of, it's definitely a challenge. Like it just felt like a step up. So that was kind of good for the brain, you know.
Son of Mary Black and nephew to Francis Black, two renowned singers, Danny grew up in a very musical family. Not only is Danny enjoying success with the band, his sister Roisin O and cousin Aoife Scott are also performers. Danny, you are Mary Black's son.
I am.
So does it feel kind of liberating to be somewhere where your mother isn't so well known?
Well, I think you'd be surprised. She's well known everywhere we've gone. I remember our first album got released in Japan, and we went over there, and we had a load of promo lined up, and there was like translators and everything, and like the first question that they were all asking was about my mom, and like I couldn't believe it, and I was ringing her going, "Mom, like I didn't even know that you toured in Japan." She was like, "Oh yeah, I toured all there." Like, so it's mad, like, you know, you sort of forget now because she doesn't do as much gigging as she used to, and my brother has a couple of kids, so she's just concentrating on being a granny. So I sort of sometimes I forget, you know, how much of a legend I suppose she is, you know. But she's like all the parents. She's very proud of us, very supportive. So it's good to have that, you know.
Your wee mammy.
Exactly.
So your family are very multi-talented. You're obviously very proud of Roisin.
Yeah, Roisin's amazing, and actually my mum is coming over here to tour in March. She's doing her own tour over here. I might as well get that plug in actually, and Roisin is doing support for her. So, she's going to be here singing with my mum, traveling around Australia for the first time. Roisin is going to be here anyway. So, she's great. We're very proud of Roisin. She's doing great. Great songwriter, great singer. So.
Fantastic. And Mary released her autobiography recently. Yeah. So have you read it, and is it weird to kind of see those stories and all about your mum and her younger days?
Yeah, it was really weird. Like even just, you know, reading about, I read the whole thing, I thought it was great, but reading about how her and my dad met and stuff, and I'd heard rough stories, but like it was just reading all the details about it was quite interesting, and her take on her career and trying to balance family life, you know, because obviously we just saw it from the family side, but it was interesting, and there was a lot of things I could relate to now, even though the industry has changed a lot since then, but just her trying to break out of Ireland and making ground overseas and getting a record deal in the UK and getting a record deal in America and stuff like that, and it's all stuff that we can relate to now, as I say, even though the genres of music are completely different, like, you know, but it was, I found it really interesting, yeah.
Taylor Swift is here. I hear one of you is a fan, maybe both of you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, have you met her, or is that a plan in the near future?
No,
are you sticking around to see her?
Maybe she'll be watching Irish TV and she might come to our show tonight. But she's. I'm a fan. Yeah, especially of her new stuff. I like the old country stuff. I wasn't really into as much, but I think the new album's great. It sounds amazing. Good choruses. Like, what's not to like?
Ever since their debut, the band have gone from strength to strength, winning multiple awards in Ireland. It was surreal for them as they went from playing Whelan's to playing to over 14,000 in Dublin's O2 in just 2 years. So music videos, that's not really big on your part, is it? Like, is it more about the music for you rather than music videos?
Well, you get to do both. Like, if you release a single, it's good to have a video to go with it. For just like that, we had a cool little video with a little Hoover running around the place, and Get Loose, we released a video there where we all got covered in paint and walked backwards, and I was swinging my arms pretty brilliantly. And the long way, we kind of like it. We don't do it ourselves exactly. We kind of get a few of our friends do it, and I don't know, it's part of it.
Makes it more fun, I suppose. And finally, the last question, which I'm sure you are sick of hearing. What are your plans for the future? What have you got planned at the minute?
Well, I mean, straight after this Australian tour, we've got a big show in Belfast on the 20th of December in the Ulster Hall, which we're really excited about. And then we've got this huge New Year's Eve gig that we're playing in Dublin, which will be our big, Dublin gig of Christmas and that. And then in January and February, we're going to, take it easy. It's usually quiet months for us, and we're going to start working the early start on the next album, I suppose, and try and write a few songs and do a bit of rehearsing and see what happens, and long may it continue. We'll keep going with the next album and hopefully, as I say, be back here again in the sun next December.
Fantastic. Well, it's been lovely chatting with you too.
Thank
you
very much.
Very, very much. It's lovely to meet you. And that's it from us here in Brisbane.